So now there is the structure and function of nephron. Nephrons are basic functional unit of kidneys. So we are going to study about nephron now. These are the excretory of functional unit of kidneys. It is formed of two parts, means every nephron has two parts. One is called the Bowman's capsule and the second are the nephric tubule. So let us see them one by one. Here is the diagrammatic representation of structure of nephron. So first of all I am showing it from the diagram, then I will explain you from the notes. So I have told you that every nephron has two parts. First one is called Bowman's capsule. This part is called Bowman's capsule. This is Bowman's capsule and it has a branch of renal artery which is called glomerulus. This structure, this extremely coiled structure is present inside it, which is made up of renal artery, and this is called glomerulus. And the second part of nephron is the tubular part, which is called nephric tubule. So this entire orange structure you are able to see here is the nephric tubule. So nephric tubule basically has three parts here. The first one is proximal convoluted tubule, the second is loop of Henle, and the third one is distal tubule. So we are going to study about their function one by one. Let us start with it. So first part of nephron is Bowman's capsule. Bowman capsule is a double-walled cup-like structure which is present in renal cortex. See here, it is a double membrane structure. Bowman capsule is a double membrane structure and this part is present in the renal cortex. At backside also I have shown you that if we cut open the kidney vertically, if we cut it open, so that time we will be able to see two parts. This outer part is called cortex and this inner part is called medulla. So Bowman capsule is basically present in the renal cortex at this area. So this is lined by thin and semi-permeable epithelium of flat cells. Bowman capsule is basically made up of epithelium cells which are having flat cells, and these cells are very thin and having semi-permeable cell membrane. Semi-permeability allows certain material only to pass through it. Okay, not all the materials can be transported through it. Only selective materials can be transported by this semi-permeable membrane. Next thing, in the concavity, glomerulus is present. This is the concavity where the bunch, or we can say a coiled structure, is present, which is made up of renal artery or a branch of renal artery, and this is known as glomerulus. Now, glomerulus is a group of blood capillaries formed by the division of renal artery. Renal artery divides several times and it forms a group of blood capillaries which form the glomerulus. Now, glomerulus act as an ultrafiltration unit, means the process of ultrafiltration takes place here. Ultrafiltration is the process where the process of filtration takes place under very high pressure, so that certain content will be filtered through it. It is the site of ultrafiltration under high pressure. Now, in this large amount, in this filter, whatever the content is filtered over here, it contains large amount of water, some useful substances, and many harmful waste like urea are filtered and get collected in Bowman capsule. As these are very thin, very fine blood capillaries, so pressure inside them is very high. Under this high pressure, the blood gets filtered and whatever the liquid content comes out, that is called nephric filtrate, it gets collected inside the Bowman capsule, and that filtrate contains a lot of amount of water, glucose, amino acids, and urea, uric acid also. So next thing, the rate of filtration in normal adult person is about 125 milliliter per minute or 170 to 180 liters per day. Means in human body this much blood is filtered every day. Nephric tubule. So the second part is nephric tubule. It has three parts, as I have shown you in the diagram, that the nephric tubule contains three parts. The first part is called proximal convoluted tubule. It lies in renal cortex. It is also present in the cortex region. It is the main site of selective reabsorption of sodium, calcium, glucose, amino acid, water, etc. from the nephric filtrate. The content which was collected in the glomerulus was termed as nephric filtrate. It contains lot of amount of water and essential materials which are useful for our body. So we don't want them to get flushed off from our body. So they are selectively reabsorbed. They are again absorbed by our blood, and this function is done in proximal convoluted tubule. The second part of nephric tubule is called loop of Henle. It is a U-shaped tubular part which is present in renal medulla. Means this part is present in the renal medulla. Here the excess of water is reabsorbed to concentrate the urine. At this part, at loop of Henle, when the nephric filter enters, at that time most of the water is reabsorbed, so that the urine becomes concentrated, or we can say that it becomes thick, and the blood which comes out in the renal vein, it again get diluted and it comes to its normal consistency. The third part is called distal convoluted tubule. It also lies in renal cortex. Again, as the tubular part of the nephron, it raises up, so that again returns in the renal cortex region. It opens in collecting duct, and most of the water is reabsorbed here. So what the process of urine formation is basically divided in three steps. The first thing, in glomerulus, as I have explained earlier, ultrafiltration is done. Here the urea, ammonia, water, glucose, minerals except proteins are filtered at high pressure in glomerulus. As the protein are mega molecules, they are not able to filter from the semi-permeable membrane. Other than protein, most of the things from the plasma, they get filtered and collected in the Bowman capsule. Now the second step is of reabsorption. We don't want to lose all these essential substances from our body. So 99% of the above filtrate is reabsorbed by the renal tubules. That proximal convoluted tubule, either the loop of Henle or distal tubule, they again reabsorb approx 99% content of the urine. So the concentration of blood coming out in renal vein become normal again. So the blood concentration becomes normal and urine become thick. Now third thing, secretion. The tubular cells, they secrete hydrogen ions, potassium ions, etc. into the filtrate to form urine. The surrounding cells, they also produce some kinds of waste material which contains hydrogen ion, potassium ion, etc. And they are also dumped along with the filtrate. So in this way, the urine which is formed contains 95% of water and 5% of ions of sodium, potassium, calcium and nitrogenous waste like urea, ammonia and creatinine. In this way, the urine is formed and it collects in the collecting duct. From collecting duct, it enters in ureter, and from ureter, it is sent to urinary bladder, and timely it is thrown out of our body from urethra. Now, the next topic is hemodialysis. In some cases, because of some reason, our kidneys becomes inefficient, or they are not capable of filtering the blood. These cases can be any pathogenic infection or any physical injury or obstruction of blood flow. At that time, it results in accumulation of toxic nitrogenous waste such as urea in our body. When the kidney is not able to filter the blood, all the toxic substances start collecting inside the blood, and it can become, it is fatal to us. So it is needed to be removed from patient's body immediately. We need to remove all the nitrogenous waste timely from the patient's body, otherwise that person may die. So what can be done? Either we have to replace the kidneys, that is a very costly process, and operation have to be done for that. Other than that, one more process is used here, that is called hemodialysis. So what happens in hemodialysis? Let us see this thing. The process of removing unwanted and toxic substances from blood while adding desirable substances into blood artificially through our dialysing membrane. This is called hemodialysis. So we are going to purify the blood of the patient artificially outside the body of the patient. Now what is the mechanism of hemodialysis? Let us see this thing. Blood from an artery of the patient is taken out. For this entire process, the blood is taken out from the artery, any of the artery. Now it is then passed through a dialysing cellophane membrane of artificial kidney. Artificial kidney is an instrument which is having dialysing cellophane membrane. This cellophane membrane is semi-permeable in nature. It is semi-permeable in nature, like as our glomerulus has. Now blood is cooled at 0 degree. While entering the blood in these dialysing cellophane membrane, the blood is cooled at 0 degree, and also a chemical which is called heparin, which is an anticoagulant, is added to it. Heparin, it prevents the blood to coagulate or to clot when it is when it is transported outside of our body. It can coagulate, the blood can coagulate while coming in contact with the oxygen present in air. We don't want the blood to clot. To prevent that, heparin is added in the blood. Now the dialysing membrane act as superfine strainers. So these dialysing membrane or the tubules of the artificial kidney, they act as a superfine strainer. Dialysing tubule is immersed in a solution which is called dialysate, which is isotonic to blood plasma. Whatever the cellophane tubes are there, they are pegged in a chamber which contains a solution which is termed as dialysate. Its concentration is similar as our blood plasma. Because of this, the waste from the blood like urea, uric acid, creatinine, excess of hydrogen ion, etc., these diffuses across the dialysing chamber inside that solution, this solution. So it is like this, this is the dialysing chamber, and this is the dialysing tube which is made up of cellophane, which is a semi-permeable material. So in these cellophane tubes, the blood is flowing, which is taken out from the body of the patient. And in this chamber, one liquid is filled, which is called dialysate. And it is equivalent to the blood plasma. So when blood comes inside these cellophane tube, they act as a strainer. And whatever the waste content is present in the blood, it gets out by the process of diffusion inside this dialysate, okay, which is having the construction just like the blood plasma. So in this way, all the nitrogenous waste gets out from the blood and blood becomes pure. The waste, this I have told you, this clean blood is now warmed up to the human body temperature, means because we have cooled it down to 0 degree, now we are going to return this blood back to the patient body. So first of all, it is warmed up to till it get heated to human body temperature. As well as we add anti-heparin to it, because earlier we had added heparin in it so that the blood do not coagulate, but now we want to nullify the effect of heparin, so anti-heparin is added to it, so the blood can perform its normal functions of clotting, etc., whenever it is needed. And then this blood is supplied back to the person's body through a vein. In this way, blood is purified outside the patient's body and then it is returned back to the patient. And this way we can save the life of the patient whose kidneys are not working. I hope you enjoyed the lesson. Have a good day.